All right, we're good.
Okay, good, Shane.
All good.
Okay, hello everyone. So being 6:30 on Wednesday, June 4th, 2025, and having quorum, I'll call the item one, call the Bridgewater Planning Board to order. So this evening, this meeting is being held remotely in accordance with the provisions of the open meeting law. There is no in-person attendance this evening. The following members of the Bridgewater Planning Board are participating remotely this evening. I'm Patrick Driscoll, the chair. Mr. Michael McDonald, the vice chair. Mr. Edward Haley, and Mr. Stephen Geller. During this meeting, all votes will be roll calls. The following Bridgewater Town staff are participating remotely this evening as well. Mr. Shane O'Brien, the town planner, Mr. Greg Tansey, the town engineer, and Mr. Stephen Solari, our building commissioner. At this point, everyone's mics are muted. The board's mics will be unmuted to the whole meeting, and as items appear on the agenda, the project's representatives' mics will be unmuted. If the project is a public hearing and allows for public comment, we ask that you use the chat feature to ask your question by listing your name, your address, and your question. The chair, which is myself, or the host, which is Mr. O'Brien this evening, will recognize the questions in order. You can also use the raise my hand feature in the participant menu, and you'll be unmuted when the chair or the host recognizes you. Again, please state your name and your address before speaking. If you're on the phone, you can dial *9 to raise your hand. So I'll go to item 2. These are site plan reviews. These are public hearings that have been continued. The first one up this evening is 43R Central Square, map 34, lot 66. This is a site plan review under section 10.6 and a special permit 6.1.4 and 9.6 to convert an existing manufacturing building into a mixed-use building with 6 units. This is continued from May 21st, 2025. So that public hearing is open. Just before we get started, Mr. O'Brien, the reason we've left this public hearing open was because there was some discrepancy over the right of way. And we asked the applicant to provide us with a legal opinion based on some information that we received that the right of way could be blocked. I believe we did receive a letter stating that all the deeds were reviewed, and we did get an opinion from the attorney. I don't know if you want to comment on that anymore, if the attorney's here to comment on that. If anybody's here to comment on that letter.
See if anyone on the applicant side like to comment.
I guess I will. Good evening. As requested, I did.
Mr. Balsamo, we know who you are, but if you could just state your name and your address for the record, please.
Jim Balsamo, 43R Central Square. I did speak to Mr. Pellegrino. He had just come back from Greece, so it took a little bit longer than we had hoped. But as soon as he got back, we did inform him of all the deeds that needed to be reviewed, and he has reviewed them and sent over a letter explaining exactly what all the deeds say, referencing that they have to be unobstructed, and also for use of to passage. It's brought it up to, he's quoted a bunch of laws. We can use it for modern uses, including utilities and for passage. So I think it was pretty clear in the letter.
Okay, and just for the record, Mr. O'Brien, we did receive that letter. I think you posted it for the public as well, correct?
That's correct. It's it's called memorandum it was dated May 28th.
And from a staff position, do you have any comments or concerns regarding the letter?
No, I didn't have any concerns about the letter. It was exactly what the board had requested from the previous memorandum. It does state beyond the deed review of 43 Rear Central Square. So I think the applicant's attorney's memorandum was pretty clear in terms of the allowability from their standpoint.
Okay. Okay, any board questions for the applicant on the attorney's letter or for the staff? No. So just to note, Mr. Costa, an associate member, did join us this evening. So, all right. So that's one thing that we're waiting for. I will open it up for any of the board questions questions that we haven't heard or questions that, that we haven't heard before or haven't been addressed. I know Mr. Geller and Mr. McDonald are participating in this hearing and myself this evening. So, Mr. Geller, Mr. McDonald, do you have anything else?
I do not. I think we got the letter what we asked for, so unless anybody has something new that we need to discuss, I think I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing
All right,
portion
well,
of this.
no, and I will do that. I just have does Mr. McDonald have anything to add?
I just have a question. I know there was some confusion last meeting about whether we had access to the right deed that you brought up. Did that ever get clarified and fixed up?
The letter, I mean, the letter didn't reference a deed book and page number, but it did reference the deed related to that address. So
Okay, so you're satisfied with that? That's it's not an issue any longer.
I'm not an attorney. It referenced the correct address this time, so it didn't reference any book or page number though.
Okay. So we're pretty confident though that we're looking at the right thing here, more or less.
Yeah, to kind of summarize the memorandum, it stated that the attorney reviewed I believe it was the 4 addresses, and stated that he went back, to the extent of a couple, ownerships differences between the parties, and felt confident in terms of providing the memorandum that states, the confidence of the allowable access for the applicant.
Okay, works for me.
I just have some quick questions, real quick, hopefully. So the last set of plans, I just reviewed the plans yesterday just because the last set of plans were the ones from, I think, April 9th, Shane, correct? Those are the ones that we're gonna, if we move forward to consider approving, we'd consider.
Let me just make sure.
Was it
No,
April?
there was
No,
a
it's the
set, there was a,
April 28th.
maybe
was the
April
plan.
28th is the
Right.
last set of plans, correct?
Correct. Okay. So just quickly to the applicant, Shane, in your memo, based on a 317 letter, you talked about the fact that you were happy that there was fencing and screening with slats along the parking lot on top of the wall. And I think Mr. Balsamo at the last meeting said that that would be added. So that we can condition that and that will be added. Is that correct, Mr. Silver, Mr. Balsamo? That just fell out somehow?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Another thing that was on that changed on that 428 plan is the legend calls out the granite to be vertical granite curbing, but then it changed on the plan to just vertical curbing. So is that going to be vertical granite or vertical concrete?
It's going to be one or the other.
So we can say, I just don't want it to be asphalt, right? So
If you make the condition that
That'd
it's
be vertical
either one
granite.
of those, that's fine.
Okay. Um,
My only question is up at the front, the fire department did tell me they might want that to be asphalt.
well, we don't have that condition, so we don't have anything from the fire department, so we'll leave it the way it is.
All right.
The gas tank in the front of the building, that's going to be removed as part of this through a environmental, or how is that being handled? Is that still there?
We don't know, but I am doing a phase 2 on it.
Okay.
Thank
You don't know if it's there or if it's going to be removed or what is?
Oh, no, if it's there, it's being removed.
Okay. Okay, Shane, is that something we should ask for the results of before a building permit? Oh, to Mr. Solari? Shane?
Oh, sorry, I stepped away for a second. What's up, Pat?
So he's doing a phase 2 on the potential gas tank out front.
Yep.
Would we want those results prior to a building permit? If we were to approve it?
Yeah, prior to, whether it be a building permit or a pre-construction meeting, either or, we're gonna necessitate, through any building permit process, if this proceeds, to have a pre-construction meeting. So I'm fine with that being taken care of prior to a building permit.
Now, the only reason I'm doing a phase 2 is if I need a loan for the building, and I'm not sure I'm there yet, but the tank will be removed if there is a tank.
Okay.
That's the only reason they require a phase 2 is for loans.
Yeah, but I think if there is a tank there, we'd want it removed, correct?
Yes, and it would be by a licensed company, 100%.
Okay. The last site-related question I have, just again, the legend talks about, we asked for a landscape plan. There is a lawn plan. There are shrubs shown. The legend just shows trees 16 to 24 feet. So I think we'd want to have those called out what those plantings that are shown really are, because you have something in mind there on the plan. So is there a planting plan and it just got missed? There's in the legend, it just shows trees 6 to 24 inches.
I don't remember how that was left off, but I would suggest to you that if you
Condition it. Okay.
you could actually just condition it to be consistent with the allowed trees in your
Okay.
bylaws.
We could,
Okay.
we could do something like we did at 152 South Street, and, that's a
Yeah, no-
project that we requested small shrubbery.
And yeah. Good. All right, so those are my final site questions. Just before we get, I know, and I'll come right back to you, Mr. Geller, I'm sorry.
Fine.
Anybody from the public with something that we haven't heard yet?
And just for that too, we did receive some public comments that were provided, to the board, as well as placed on the, town's website under the public comments folder. So just to let people know.
Okay. Is there any, so Shane, I don't see public comment. Is there anything that we haven't heard from anybody?
You could raise your virtual hand. Oh, we have,
I think David Moore is asking to speak.
all right, we have, let me just recheck. I saw. It was David Moore, you said.
And we
Yeah, I
did
think-
get Mr. Moore's letter.
All right, Dave, you're good.
Couple meetings ago, there was a,
So Mr. Moore, we know who you are. Just state your name and address.
I'm sorry. David Moore, 54 Flag Street, trustee of 39 Central Square. There was a comment made for a possibility of a special permit being required for the off-site parking. Did I hear that right, or was it,
There's a special permit to reduce the parking, so there's no net loss on the site.
okay, well, I agree with the terminology, no net loss on the site, but there is a net loss to the businessmen in the area, and I just wanted to see that addressed.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Moore.
All right, anyone else? Let me know in the chat or raise your virtual hand. All right,
Okay.
John. All right, John Sylvia.
All right. So, Mr. Sylvia, if there's something new, go ahead, sir.
Basically the same, just curious about the parking situation and the safety situation that we've talked about in the past, that's all.
Okay, thank you very much. Anything else, Mr. Sylvia?
No, thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other public comment? All right. I don't see any, Shane, right?
Nope, I don't see anyone with their hand raised. I don't see anyone with their physical hand raised. But yeah, that's all I have.
All right, so Mr. Geller, I'll go back to you, sir.
So with that being done, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
So we have a motion by Mr. Geller. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. McDonald? Okay, so it's just the three of us, so it's all, everything has to be unanimous. So I'll go Mr. McDonald,
Yes.
Mr. Geller.
Yeah,
Okay, and I'm a yes. Okay. So the public hearing's closed. The board is now going to deliberate on everything that we've heard. So there's no more public comment. There's no more applicant comment at this point. So Shane, I think we probably should handle a special permit for parking first, correct?
I would leave it up to you guys in terms of the order of operations. I don't think I would really, what I would suggest is that first off, we look to, or the applicant looks to, in either process, if the applicant is looking to withdraw the bonus density, because we haven't had a formal vote for that to be withdrawn nor voted against. I know
Okay.
it's not necessitated per se, but they did request it. So I just would like the board to kind of address that as part of this because it
All right,
wasn't.
because the plan we're considering is 4 units, correct?
That is correct. So it's just that was part of the request that they were requesting 6 units to begin with. So we need to have some sort of discussion about obviously that the board isn't going to move forward with the 6-unit request. So it just needs to be addressed. But in regards to order of operations for the site plan review of the special
Well,
permit,
we already closed the public hearing, so they can't withdraw it. So we're just gonna.
you can vote against the special permit for the bonus density.
Okay.
So it's essentially there's three things
Special
voting
permit.
on: site plan, special permit for parking, and the special permit under 9.6 for the bonus density.
All right, so since the applicant has reduced the project to 4 units from 6, there's no longer a need for the special permit for the bonus density. So do we have can I get a board motion on the special permit for the bonus density?
Move to deny that special permit.
So motion to deny the bonus density by Mr. McDonald, and we have a second
second.
by Mr. Geller. Just for discussion and for the record, the reason we're denying it is because it's no longer applicable. It's been essentially removed by the reduction of units. So, all right. So I'll take the roll. Mr. Geller,
Yes,
Mr. McDonald,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Okay. So the next special permit is for the reduction in parking. Discussion on this? Oh, I'll give my opinion on it. The project has been cut down. I don't think anybody's happy that the project's smaller, and I don't think some people are happy that the project could potentially go there. So I'll support the special permit for the reduction in parking. However, I think that there is a net loss, right? So I think that there is, the way I look at it is if you have a business that has 2 spots and you add a use, that business doesn't need to increase the parking to meet the current, but it has to maintain what it had. So Mr. Silva mentioned in his memo that it had 2 spots and they need 6 for the residential. So that takes away 1 from the business. So I would support the special permit, but I would want to condition it that, prior to a building permit, Mr. Balsamo find 1 spot, either on site or within 500 feet, to comply with that no net loss. I mean, everybody interprets it a different way. I talked to a land use attorney in Winthrop about it. I think that's the most reasonable interpretation. It's a math problem. It doesn't say the same amount of parking or more parking that you had. It says no net loss. And there is a business there now that operates with 2, and we're adding a use that needs 6, and it's taking away 1. So there's a net loss to that business of 1. I know there are other ways it's interpreted about how you lose parking on the common. I get it, but right now that business operates with two and they're parking somewhere else. So I think that's the fairest interpretation. So I'd be in favor of it with the condition that one spot one spot prior to a building permit be located, be identified and secured either through an easement, deed restriction, et cetera, to ensure that it can be used for this project. Or the applicant has the option to scale it down and take a unit away or something like that. So there is no net loss, but that's where I stand on. I know there's many different interpretations. Some people think we need 9, some people think we need 15, some people think we need 0. But I feel most comfortable with that and consistent going forward with other projects downtown. So, Mr.
I have a question on that, Pat.
Who is it? Who's talking?
Mr. Chair, oh, this is Shane.
Yeah.
Just two options I'm looking at. So if the applicant requested a change in parking spaces which required a reduction in parking spaces based on the first floor use, would that constitute meeting that criteria? I think based on the way you said it, it would, because right now the applicant.
So you're saying if there's a use that required only one space?
No, I'm saying if hypothetically speaking, right now the applicant's first floor use is based on one space per 250 square feet. But if their use was for something that was one space for every 300 square feet, that lost a parking space.
Well, there's still a negative though.
Okay,
So
understood. I just was trying to figure out where that one space was applicable for, as well as the question of if the applicant were to pursue a variance in the reduction of open space and included one more space on the spot, that would cover that.
yeah, I mean they have to figure out one more space either for variance or the 500 feet. Just
Understood. I just was making sure.
Well, it's up to they can get rid of a residential unit to meet it. I mean, they can do whatever they want. We've been round and round and round about this, and I think it was brought up on the Broad Street project when they talked about the bowling alley, and they said, no, I only need to replace 56 spots because that's what that restaurant operated with. And I agreed on that developer's interpretation. It's the same way that I understood it, in the same way that it was explained to me. So I just think it's no net loss. You have a business there that operates with 2. Mr. Silva's office provided a memo that said we operate with 2. Well, fine, continue to operate with 2, but your new use has to comply. So,
Okay. Understood.
Mr. McDonald or Mr. Geller on that one? Thoughts on the special permit?
I would support
Well-
adding your condition.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I would kind of agree with how you described that.
So I guess, are you guys in favor of the special permit, in favor of the special permit with the condition? Are you against the special permit? Where are we at?
I think I would be in favor of the special permit with that condition.
Likewise.
Are there anything else we want to condition? Oh, no.
I guess we just have to be careful with how we word it, like for the duration of its use, or, in perpetuity, or I don't know how we'd word that.
And I think Mr. Solari gets involved with us in a little bit. I mean, I think we've talked about in the past that it can't be leased month to month. It has to be a deed restriction, an easement, a variance to get another spot on their property. They have options. I mean, they can get rid of a residential unit. They get a variance to reduce green space a little bit. They can get one within 500 feet. They can, I think we're being flexible. It's just that in order to be consistent downtown, there are going to be other projects coming forward. And, if Roach Brothers wants to put 300 units in their parking lot and they say, hey, we don't have any more parking spaces, but we have the same number as what we started with. I don't think that's the intent. I think the intent is, hey, if the shopping plaza is operating at a negative in terms of spaces, it can operate at that same negative when when whatever's added is added there, it just can't go below that negative, that's all. So. But I think I agree, like whatever is offsite or whatever is, you know, he, whatever remedy he comes up with, that's up to him. But it has to be for the duration.
Makes sense to me.
Does somebody want to make a motion? I mean, I don't want to drive the whole conversation. Does somebody want to speak or make a motion? Or?
I'll make a motion to accept the special permit with the parking modification that we just discussed. That the applicant has to find one parking space.
Within the zoning criteria.
Correct.
And it has to be, you know, for the duration of the project or easement or something like that. Yeah.
Right.
All right.
Well, like I said, Mr. Solari will get involved with that stuff too. Just, you know.
All right. Do we have and we'll word it so, you know, maybe I'll connect with him. So it's either an easement, deed restriction, whatever it is. So, do we have a second on that, Mr. McDonald?
Yes, sir. Second.
Any further discussion? So we motion to approve the special permit for parking with a condition, right?
Correct.
Okay, I'll take the roll. Mr. McDonald,
Yes.
Mr. Geller,
Yes.
I'm a yes. Okay. Okay, so the site plan. Discussions on the site plan?
I think you pretty well covered that earlier, so nothing from me on that.
Yeah, so I mean, so Shane, I read your draft memo.
Yep. So
So I think that I think that
I can bring it up on the screen. We can
you
discuss.
know, I mean, I wrote them down. I have them. I'm just trying to collect
Okay.
my thoughts. So the right of way and the access to this project you mentioned has to be maintained at 18 feet at all times unobstructed, right? So we need that in there, right? It can't be gated. It can't be blocked. So Mr. Balsamo needs to maintain 18 feet unobstructed access because
What number is that one again? That is
I read it yesterday, 37, 40, something like that.
okay.
You find it?
Let me just bring it up. I think for the ease of just
Well, I guess my point is like I agree with that. I don't think you finished writing that sentence. So I think we need to look at that.
it's entirely possible. I think once I get to the 40s, it became just for the sake of transparency. So yeah,
Keep going now. Keep going. Way down. Keep going.
sure.
Keep going. Go to 37.
Post occupancy. So that'd be usage of passageway shall remain obstructed for all abutting parcels.
All right. Well, that's my next one. So I think we should have, you know, there needs to be some sort of a plan because, you know, the abutters have brought up a lot of good points, right? They rely on that for their business. They rely on it for access to their business. They rely on it for customers, et cetera. So I think there needs to be some sort of a plan in place to allow for this to happen, but at the same time allow those other businesses to function, you know, without financial hardship or anything. So I think that you know the passageway shall remain obstructed for all. Well, wait a minute. So this is
post
all right.
occupancy.
You go down to 40 then. Maybe that's where
40
all
is
right.
yeah, additional things that can be
All right, so 40 is during, so let's start with that one. So during construction, I mean, there needs to be notice and like a plan. That access just can't be totally blocked off without some sort of a plan in place. And we need, you know, they need to keep us in the loop and the abutters in the loop. So there is some sort of a plan. so that everybody has access to what they need to access to.
No, I
Okay.
completely agree because if, utility work is being completed, there has to be advance notice because, there is, right of way usage that is affected. It could be something as, some sort of detour plan, which I guess would be very difficult, but could be feasible. Or utility works done at a period of time where, some of these businesses are not operational, whether it be nighttime work. Either or, I just think is something that abundantly we need to have, um, located. Um, that notice be required for all parties that are utilizing the passageway, as well as that could be affected by, such work.
Okay, and then so back up to 37. So we might have to tweak that a little, Shane, but I think you know what we're trying to get at. Like we need a plan for that, so the 37, just in our discussions, and then when we had another discussion on this project, in regards to the right of way, like I believe Attorney Rollins said that, we can't ask for more than what the zoning says. So even though it's 20, he has to maintain an 18-foot unobstructed. I think we should make that clear in there that it says, because you said utilized as proper. I don't know what you were thinking there. What was
I
that?
think I was trying to utilize as proper access.
Okay. So shall remain unobstructed, for 18 feet in width at all times for all abutting parties to utilize as proper access.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if he can control that or not, but they've represented that, so it needs to happen. The other thing with the right of way, we talked about paving, and I think Mr. Geller, you brought this up on this project, and you brought it up on Broad Street, which I think was good. We don't want patches, right? So,
Correct.
I don't know how we word that, Shane, but I think that when we talked about this, when the work is complete in the right of way, it should be brought back to a certain standard. In terms of depth of asphalt, in terms of, we're not just filling in a narrow trench that, either half, a big section of it's either being done over or completely redone, and I don't know how we word that, but maybe, maybe that's enough for tonight, and then you can work on the language. But I think what we want in there is something that says that, hey, this isn't going to be a patch job when it's done. When all this disruption is done, it's going to have, a 10-foot wide swath all the way down, everything that was disrupted. And there's going to be a binder course of 3.5 inches and a top coat of 1.5 inch. And it's going to be done to that standard. So I think we need some language in there about the reconstruction of that right away.
Sure thing. So just for the sake of conversation, at least minimally that 10 feet of the binder course, standard pavement over, area, the 10 feet area, not just over the areas where the utility work is going to be done.
Well, yeah, or on so many feet on either side. We're assuming, based on their representation, that all the utilities are going up against the Masonic Lodge. That could change. We don't, so
Sure.
I mean, that's why it has to be clear that it's done to a certain extent beyond what's dug up. I think we need a shrub planting schedule or a landscape planting schedule. There are plants identified. I just want to know what those are on the plan. The fencing and screening and slats need to be added back. The curbing that's listed as just vertical curbing needs to be either vertical granite or vertical concrete. You can add these later, Shane. We can.
Just, I've got the screen open.
I
so that's fine.
I have them written down.
All right. And then, you said
And then the gas tank issue, we want a copy, I guess, of that phase 2 report prior to any building permit.
Well, but Mr. Chair, he wasn't sure if he was doing a phase two. He was only gonna do a phase two if he has to go for financing. So I think I
Well,
want.
he said he was doing he said he was doing a phase two in case he needed financing.
Well, he wasn't sure if he was financing yet or not. So,
Can we
you
do
know,
if
if
a-
he decides not to finance, he's not gonna do
Right.
a phase two. So I just think we should word it somehow
Right.
that he should investigate. If there's
Investigate,
anything there, and if it is
provide.
there, it should be removed properly.
All right, and then if there is a phase two done, it should be provided to the town.
Yes.
What I heard was that the phase two was being done in case he needed financing, so. And again, Shane, we don't need to rewrite all these now, but it's.
No, I'm just leaving it for my own sake and just while we're having the discussion and all the people in the Zoom, YouTube world can follow along.
All right, what other conditions would we like to see? Those are the ones I wrote down.
You hit the one with the paving. I also wrote down your plantings. And I just made my comment about the phase two and the gas tank.
And Shane, there should be no markings on the right of way. Should there like a right turn only arrow? So when people turn out, they don't turn. I mean, is that common sense or is that?
I would say that there were no markings on the
On there.
plan,
All right.
so I would say
There are
that-
there are no markings there now, right? So,
correct. Just the dig safe stuff.
you know, I know this was a tough project and it's probably one of the toughest sites, and I think everybody's probably a little annoyed, but I think that, you know, as a board, the three of us, I mean, I feel like this is the best that we can do.
I agree. I don't know what else you could utilize that site for. You know, you can't just put another business back there. You know, you'd run into a similar situation with, you know, the Friendlies. It would be an unusable lot. Well, I guess not anymore. Come to think of it, but you know what I mean.
Any other conditions we want to discuss? Do we want to adopt all those conditions I talked about or not?
I'm in favor of all those.
As am I.
Does somebody want to talk about it more, or do we want to? Somebody want to make a motion or what?
No. Maybe either Mike or myself, so,
It's either you or Michael. I can't. I mean, so.
I
so
don't-
I'm just trying to
I-
think of how you phrase that with like what with all the discussion.
Well, I mean, I think we got the
So,
conditions. I think we got the
think we-
conditions.
I think we can phrase it as, you know, I'd like to approve the project with all of the conditions, all 39 of them, plus the added probably 8 more.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so we'll hit the right of way issue, the unobstructed, the
The landscaping, the phase 2, the asphalt, everything that's been discussed tonight.
the curbing, the fencing, screening, planting schedule, et cetera. So,
Right.
all right, and we have I mean, we've talked about them, so it's they can end up in the final document, and I'll have Shane draft them, and then I'll read them before I sign them to make sure they're all in there.
Absolutely.
So, Mr. Geller, you made a motion to approve the site plan with the standard conditions that we have that Shane provided, and the addition of the ones that we talked about this evening.
That's correct.
Mr. McDonald, any second there or what?
Second.
So second by Mr. McDonald. Okay. Any discussion? So, and just, I mean, all the plans, the latest architectural plans, everything, those are the plans of record, so we should just also put that in the decision, so.
Yeah, and the decision will show the findings of fact, as part of this discussion, any votes, as well as the latest and, latest plan sets, latest architectural plans that as well as all public comments and all deliberation that's been held, through the public hearing process, as part of that application or decision.
All right, so a motion and a second. I'll take the roll. Mr. Geller,
Yes,
Mr. McDonald,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Okay. Thank you, everyone. All right, Shane, moving on.
Sure thing. So
So item two, I'll open up the continued site plan public hearing for 1010 Elm Street.
oh, it's actually, I apologize. So I placed it on the agenda just so it's still noticed, but they did request at the last meeting a continuance to June 18th.
We've already continued it to June 18th, correct?
Yeah, I just kept it on the agenda because that's, the applicant had requested that as part of their continuance, that it just remain on the agenda. So I just kept it, on the
All right.
agenda.
So moving on. To item three, this is a preliminary plan review, senior village development. This is continued from May 21st. This is also known as Pleasant Street Village at Pleasant Street in May Jim Lane, map 33, lot 73, 112, 113, 115, 116, and 117. The company is Rising Community and Housing, Inc. This is a preliminary plan. Planning board review of the proposed pursuant to section 8.7 senior housing to village development for new 40-unit senior housing village development. The proposal will require a special permit at a future public hearing. So Shane, we had the presentation by SEA last time.
Mhm.
I think the reason we were keeping this open was to hopefully circulate it and get DPW comments and things of that nature. I don't have any additional comments. I personally like the concept. I think it complies with what we're trying to do. But I think we're still waiting on some DPW stuff. Is that correct? For water and sewer?
That is correct. So I was invited, by some DPW staff to attend their weekly meetings. I had last Tuesday, I was off, yesterday. So I wasn't able to attend, nor I think had another day that I wasn't available. So I'll follow up with DPW, regarding, some of the water and sewer issues that we may be, are we dealing with in terms of whether, a water impact form would be necessitated or expected for this project. So I'll continue to reach out to DPW as well as the director, and water and sewer superintendent. We did receive
Yeah,
comments.
I mean,
from the-
I think the main thing about this project, from what I saw, was, they need to be able to confirm water and sewer connections. Mr. Silver brought up the termination of May Jim Ave, the potential connection to Fremont Street for drainage overflow. So I mean, I think those were the main issues. I mean, I think from a planning board issue, it follows our regulations based on your memo, et cetera. So
Yeah, from a preliminary review standpoint, it provided a memo, with some comments regarding where it fits in terms of from a site plan perspective. So covered a couple bases there. But I couldn't do a complete review due to the fact that, we need architectural plans. A lot of what
yeah,
this project
we
is.
have some architectural.
Well, yeah, once we get some architectural, we'll be able to kind of, provide some additional comments on the matter. But yeah, from this standpoint, from a unit count standpoint and a density standpoint, they do comply, to the ordinance, which is part of that preliminary review. So, I feel comfortable with them proceeding with a special permit process. But, it's their comfort to, additionally reach out to DPW, have continuing conversations in terms of their regulations on, a project of this size and how it would impact town infrastructure.
All right, so any Mr. Silver, anything you want to add since the last meeting? I mean, what, I think the board gave you
Well,
a
what I'm
pretty.
hearing, Mr. Chairman, what I'm hearing is that Shane still needs to meet with DPW and attend their meeting to get those answers that we were looking for.
Well, I don't think
And I'm gonna tell you one of the reasons why. I mean, just this past week, for our project that's on Bedford Street, 815 Bedford Street, the sprinkler company wants to go and do a hydrant test in order to be able to design the sprinklers. And the water department tells them, no, they can't. This is, you
Well, I mean,
you don't have enough water in the tower.
So Mr. Silva, I think, man, I think we want some direction too, and I think we're frustrated as well. But I think that we can't control water and sewer. I mean, the town manager or Mr. Antonero or somebody has to give us all some guidance. But
Absolutely.
I think from a planning board perspective, I mean, I don't want to speak for the board, but I don't think you get any negative feedback. I think we have this ordinance. I think it's low impact. I think it's very nicely designed. So I hope it comes forward.
Right, but I
And,
mean, but you gotta understand, my client doesn't own the property yet. He has under agreement. He's gonna be spending an awful lot of money.
Have you
buying
have you
this
guys
property.
have you
We
have
gotta
you
make
guys
sure that he can do it.
have you requested a meeting with DPW, Mr. Silva?
This was the mechanism for us to get that feedback, was to get it through the planning board to DPW so that we could get feedback, so that we know that we're safe to take the next step of doing the detailed engineering design and then submitting for the special permit.
So Mr. O'Brien, can you reach out to Mr. Antonero again and just
yeah, I can see if we can set up something with DPW and Silva Engineering regarding just a continuing discussion of this matter. Additionally, too, Mr. Chair, we did receive some comments from the public on this design too.
yeah,
So I did forward that to them.
I also saw we got a fire comment on this one too. So
Correct.
which basically just said they'll comment when they get their plans. So
Pretty much so.
no, I understand, Mr. Silver. But we can't. We just need to know that you have water and sewer there. That's all.
Hey, Larry, let's schedule. Let me look at my calendar and let's try to schedule a time. See if we can get DPW to have a conversation
Okay, very good, thank you.
beyond Greg, of course. We
Is there-
appreciate Greg's presence.
Is there? I mean, Shane, do we have to do a formal letter that we support this, or how does this go? Or do we just
No,
tell
this is just essentially like a technical review process. The expectation that the next time we probably see this project is when it's notified, abutters are notified, and we go through a special permit process. So
any board comments from Mr. Silva? Any public comments? Or the public's on?
we have James
Mr. Walsh. Mr. Walsh.
Hey everyone, thanks for comment. James Walsh, 60 Crescent Street. Just had a question. I know, Shane, we were in contact a little bit. Before it moves on to the definitive subdivision plan, I mean, I think there were some lingering questions just about like explicitly, calculating the open space, like really clearly defining that on the plan before it's subdivided, which I don't think was clear. I just want to make sure, is that whole discussion of where exactly those boundaries lie, that can still go into the.
Yeah, actually, Shane, that's a good point, because the open space isn't the open space like deed restricted almost? It's not like area around the belt. Is that?
No, it could be defined as either preservation area or open space. So I did include that as part of my memorandum. So the applicant, essentially in the last set of plans, and if you can bring them up, Rebecca or Larry, you have that, in the last set of plans, you kind of break everything down into kind of a
Yep,
a
I'll bring it up.
grid-like design.
Mhm.
Let me, of course, allow.
I thought it was more like the cluster bylaw that had.
Yeah, because reviewing it too, I had a question because it included a large amount of open space. It was pretty much up to like 40% open space, which, it seemed like excessive, but a fair amount of the open space is constituted through the actual home or the exclusive use areas, where the 20% breakdown comes kind of from the edges. as well as part of the
So
front.
behind those lot lines though, what does that all add up to?
This open space here that I'm kind of
Yeah.
along the back and the side, that area is 66,000 square feet.
And what percentage of the site is it?
The site is
I think it's like
7,
21 or 22%. I think there was some confusion on because there's the area up front, the 6,000 square feet, and then around the edges. And then
Mhm.
one of the questions that kind of I thought to myself was that you have that community space area, which I think there should be an applicable number for, but that number that constitutes that open space, I think includes all the open space featuring the dwelling units around the parcel or in
It
those.
actually, it includes the areas that is the road, because the road will be considered common, kinda, so that 70,000
Yeah,
goes from the
open-
front all in here.
It would have to be defined as open space per the
Right,
definition.
open
Mhm.
space can't be paved.
The
Well, I
area
would s-
behind the units, that was the 66,000, that that's 20% by itself, I believe.
Yeah,
Then you get some on the front.
that area along Pleasant Street as well as the area in the back. When I did the math, it was like 21 or 22% of the project. So,
Yep,
you know,
I'm
I
doing
think
it
it
now.
just
Yeah,
so I think there just needs to be some clarification of what that square footage is around the community center. Because I think that could be added as open space
Mhm.
as well as, throw a patio or pavilion and all that jazz there.
Yeah, I mean, open space wouldn't be classified as like the exclusive use areas. What's this, right? No.
No, it would be outside that. I would
Okay.
say
It's
that
22%.
so that open space that's not necessarily within those use areas
And what's in residential D? 30% is required?
is 20%. So it's 20% residential D, and I think the other districts is 40%.
No, but in the SHB, what is it? What is it in the residential?
It's 20% for this district.
For the senior housing village in this district, correct?
Correct.
Okay, all right.
20% open space as constituted by the ordinance.
In addition to the grass and everything else, correct?
Sure. Yeah, it's specified open space that's not necessarily
Right.
belonging to a particular party.
And this is at 22, correct?
Correct.
yeah.
And then I know
Yeah.
that based on our definition of open space too, we do allow for some drainage basins, drainage structures to be included as part of the open space counts.
Correct. All right.
I think
Mr. Walsh, do you have another question?
Yeah, I just had a question because I know this is the first time we're shepherding this through, like something through into this ordinance, right? And Shane, I just wonder, like when we were discussing this, I know part of it was, the open space is really supposed to be there as helping folks who are active adults, they're, have home ownership opportunities, they want to engage recreationally on the site. So I guess I'm just curious, is this, if the open space is a retention basin and like a wooded area that's buffer, I just wonder, is that really the intent of the, but I just, I know this is going to be a lot of cost to acquire this. So like before it goes much further, if it needs to be more.
I would say that there should be some features within that open space area that provide amenities, a pavilion or some sort of outdoor recreation.
I would
but
suggest a walking path through that takes you around from the roadway sidewalk from one side around through the other. And I think that having a nature trail basically around through that space would be appropriate for that. That's similar to what we did, different zoning bylaw, but similar to what we did like on access when we did the apartments. We had walking pathways around the backside, went around by the detention basin and around the outside of the buildings.
I would say
there's
also kind of an expectation, I would say, through this project that, especially in the residential D, I think that part of the benefit of the residential D, especially based around the central business district, is that I think there's an opportunity for a crosswalk where the sidewalk ends at my gym, either that side or the other side, to allow for residential access to the downtown area, as well as, other walking trails. But yeah, no, I do see opportunities within that 20% open space. I know I think there's an expectation too, after talking to the engineering company, or Silva, I'm sorry, that, some of these buildings we look for a reduction of these detention basins and drainage basins by looking for roof drains for these properties. So I think there's an expectation that, you know, on-site roof drainage be applicable for these units, to allow for, less impact in terms of the open space.
And the only other thing I wanted to add is that where we do show the roadway as two entry points to Pleasant Street, that sidewalk that is provided there will be looped either internally near that open space or externally on Pleasant Street in that area to make sure that somebody could actually go around. And then if we make that with the nature trail through the open space, that gives you another option to go through there too.
Yeah, and Shane, I confirmed on page 65 of our zoning, it is 20. I was thinking the other districts are more, it's 40% in the other districts, it is 20, so.
Yeah, well, I think the reasoning for that is just basically the residential D is primarily closer to the downtown area, and
Correct.
that there's closer access and walkable access to parks and fields.
Yeah, no, but I think the biggest step or the biggest hurdle before it comes back to us is the meeting with DPW. So
Agreed.
Mr. Walsh, anything else, sir?
No, appreciate the discussion. Thank you.
Thanks, James.
Anybody else? Okay, so Shane, we're just basically going to keep this as an open agenda item until we get some DPW feedback, or
Yeah, if that's what the board wants to do.
is that what Mr. Silver, is that what you and the applicant want to do?
Yeah, that would be good. That way, once that meeting takes place, Shane gets an opportunity to report back to the board, and anyone who's on the meeting will hear that as well. So.
And hopefully we can get some feedback or commitments or no commitments within the next 2 weeks, so we know where we stand.
Yeah, because we'd like to be getting out there doing test pits,
Yeah.
getting our drainage designed, and moving forward with the detailed part of it.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Unless the board has anything else? No. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Item 4, other business. We don't have the minutes this evening. Shane, you want to talk about the June 18th meeting?
Yeah, June 18th. We don't have any A&Rs right now, so what we're looking at is 1010 Elm Street, as well as the preliminary discussion that we just had of Pleasant Street Village. So, yeah, it's looking like a shorter meeting at this time. We don't have any other new public hearings through that time, so that gives the board an opportunity to so I'm hoping at least to get more minutes in front of you guys to review. So that's my goal for the next meeting.
All right, and then just a reminder, June 11th. That's the
Yep.
downtown.
Yep, Bridging the Vision of Central Square Community Reveal. That's next Wednesday. I believe I provided that information to you guys.
Yeah.
I think it's at BSU. But please check the town website or the Vision to Reality Facebook page. I think there's an Eventbrite, so we have a general idea of how many people are coming. But feel free to shoot me an email if you have any questions in terms of access or any questions. I'm happy to help.
Okay. So Shane, I do have a committee update.
Hey, okay.
I mean, as most of you guys know, I serve as the liaison for the CPC. So by the way, just for the record, Mr. Geller signed off. So the recreation department did a preliminary application through CPC some months back for around $500,000, maybe $550,000 to rehabilitate the fields behind the old high school. I guess, now that the town has ownership of it. So they want to do basically 3 multi-purpose fields for lacrosse, for football, things of that nature and rehabilitate 4 of the old tennis courts now that the high school built new ones across the street. So I had met with them through CPC. We did a site walk uh, early spring. They're working on the final application. Mark Thomas, who chairs the recreation, along with Frank Judd, who runs Bridgewater Lacrosse. It's going to be used for lacrosse and for football. It's anybody, could potentially be lighted, etc. So they're at the final stages of the application, hoping to get it in, I think, for the meeting at the end of June. Frank Judd asked me today, he's working on the application because I'm the liaison on the planning board, because I'm the liaison from the planning board to CPC, if planning board would write a letter of support to rehabilitate, build new fields. They're going to be grass. They're not going to be turf. I guess CPC can't fund turf anymore through the state, but that whole area could get redone with 3 new fields, lacrosse wall, tennis courts redone, etc. So he asked me if I would write a letter of support from the planning board, and I said nope. I said I can't. I said, but I have a meeting tonight with the board, and if the board wants to, Shane and I can work on it, and I'll sign it. So thoughts? I mean, it's a pretty quick timeline. They're trying to get it done, but submitted by the end of the month. Any objections? That anybody want to do it? Not, should we do it? Not do it? What do we want to do? I support the project, but it's well, by the way, it did get preliminary funding. It did the pre-application already, and CPC, we voted to accept it as a project. So it's already been through the preliminary stage. It's just now they're trying to turn in the budget and the letters of support. And I think the letters of support are from us, from recreation, obviously, from the school department. I think they're going to ask Mrs. Robinson or Mr. Davis, whoever's here at the time, to write one as well. So, Jane, anybody on the board?
Sorry, Mike.
No, you're good. I don't
I
oppose
support
it.
it totally, though.
Something I don't have. First time I'm hearing about it. I don't have all the info, so I don't know if I could attach my name to it just because I don't know enough about the situation. But I mean, it doesn't sound like a bad thing, so I wouldn't say no.
I mean, Eric and I are probably back there with our kids, and it looks like it did when I went to high school 30 years ago.
Correct. Yeah.
And there's a few complexes that we go to for lacrosse and other things now. There's one in Weymouth. You pull behind the school, and there's beautiful, like 3 beautiful fields with lights, and I just think there's a huge need for it, and I'd like to see it happen. But
I'd agree with it. It sounds great.
I had no idea we had such a large lacrosse population in Bridgewater, to be honest.
Well, it's not just for lacrosse. I guess the Badgers uses it quite a bit in the fall for practice and stuff like that. So I left out the Badgers. I apologize. Because I'm not part of it, but I think the name that oh God, I think the name that Mr. Judd told me today was Long. Mr. Long is writing a letter of support as well for the Badgers, so they have access to it.
Oh well, now I have to be in favor. I used to be one, so.
Yeah, typically you see with a lot of these multi-purpose fields, it's you're getting football, soccer, lacrosse, any
Yeah,
kind of
that's the idea. It's multi. I think it kind of got spearheaded because I know it got spearheaded because lacrosse really doesn't have a place to go, and that's where they practice and play and whatnot. But in talking to CPC, we did a site walk with CPC, and they went out there, and actually CPC was in favor of it, and they said, "Oh, this could be great. This could be multi-purpose for everybody in town, and at the same time, why don't you look to put lights, lights there as well and light it up so it can be used all the time." So we're trying to get to the phase where we can hire an engineer, relatively soon, to design it. And it's almost there. It's just the final push on the application and to get these letters of support, so.
So I'm happy to write that letter, Pat, if the board.
Yeah, and I
wishes.
can help you as well. I mean, we did one for Hanson Farm, didn't we?
That's correct. And I think we did another one before Hanson Farm too.
So maybe we can pull one of those out and just look at that as a template and.
Sure.
I wanted the board to know if there's any objection, we won't do it, but,
No,
well,
I have no objection. I mean, the more you talked about it, the more it just makes sense. The more spaces for the kids. the
you
better.
know, there is a very preliminary plan just with like locations of stuff. That one of the volunteers did. I can send that to Shane and he can send it out to the board.
Yeah, I'm
so
assuming it's more geometry for that, Pat, just so that you have.
it's geometry. It's just
It's just four rectangles that fit in a way that meet
Yep.
the proper length and width for potentially a football field, lacrosse field.
It's a Google Earth overlay with squares, right? So
Perfect. Sounds like my kind of plan.
I mean, do you need a vote for this or something, or just us generally concur?
well, Shane, how did we do the one for Hanson Town? Did we vote? I mean, I think you just did it next time, but I mean, where I'm on the committee and I'm bringing it to the committee, maybe we should take a vote.
Yeah, I think just a means to support, a letter of support for, for that project, coming from the planning board.
Just to move forward with further work and discovery and.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's beyond further work and discovery. I mean, that's the discovery's kind of been done. They did a preliminary application that was approved, so the funding, I guess, is like held, so to speak. Now they want to go hire an engineer like Mr. Silver or somebody else, so whoever, decides they want to do it. And get a plan done so that they can put it out to bid to have it redone. So.
I'm all for more sports space.
All right, so a letter of support for the multipurpose fields behind the Bridgewater Middle School. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
By Mr. McDonald, Mr. Haley. Any discussion? So, Mr. Haley,
Yes.
Mr. Costa,
Yes.
Mr. McDonald.
Yes.
Is there anybody else or just me?
No, just you and Steve left, so it's just you, Pat.
Yeah, and I'm a yes. Okay. And I think, Shane, the application is going to be, they meet the last Monday of June. So.
All right, yeah, I can get that, I think we can get that pretty soundly.
And I'll send you what I have over for the plan so you can take a look at it.
Sure thing.
All right. Any other committee reports that anybody serves on or anything else?
Only so many committees.
Shane, did you take care of your planners report already?
No, but I can kind of summarize some stuff. So we do have, according to the last town council meeting, we do have a new associate member. Christopher Browski is going to be on the planning board as soon as he gets sworn in. So I expect him probably to be participating at the next meeting.
When he was here tonight, he's just waiting for you, Steve, to open the door to the town hall.
I'll keep it locked. No, I'll have to explain to him what virtual meetings are. But I think he's attended a couple. He's had a couple projects before us in the past, so that's some familiarity with the name. I signed off on the CO for 152 South Street. That would be the veterinarian's office. They did everything in accordance to what we required them to. So whether low-level shrubs, parking spaces. So that project is all set. Had a meeting today with some staff from DPW. So we heard from Mass DOT that we got some rapid rectangular flashing beacons. It's those button presser things that you press and they light up. So so we have one that we're going to be putting at replacing the locations in front of Waterford Village at their entrance. So we'd be seeing some rapid rectangular flashing beacons over there, as well as another location that may take some time, which would be in front of Bridgewater Bagel. That would require some ADA accessibility improvements prior to us installing them. But there is an expectation that we'd throw some over there as to assist with people traveling from Waterford Village to across the street, whether it be through the MBTA station or the college, as well as some safety measures and lighting measures from the parking lot at Spring Street, over to either Towns Landing, Bridgewater Bagel, just general access that would provide some safe travel. So that's pretty much what I have on my end, Mr. Chair.
All right, I mean, if nobody has anything else, I think we're good, right? All right, well, I know 43 hours, what would that take us, about 6 months, so.
Since
Yeah.
November, yeah.
So that's behind us for now, right? All right. Any discussion or do a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Mr. Haley, do a second.
Second.
Mr. McDonald, I'll take the roll. Mr. Haley,
Yes.
Mr. McDonald,
Yes.
Mr. Costa,
Yes.
and I'm a yes.
Hey, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Have a good one.
Take care.